Happy Friday to you, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Blistery day up here in the mountains, but beautiful nevertheless. Hope things are great where you are. Hey, I got a viewer question that asked me, hey Bryan, my dog bit someone on my property that wasn't supposed to be there, and I also had up beware of dog signs. Am I liable? Well, first of all, let me just state this out there. I'm not an attorney. That's always a good question for an attorney because laws do vary state by state. But let me kind of give you an idea about a particular case that happened to me so that you kind of get where I'm coming from on this, because you do need to understand this, because so many dog owners are under the misconception that if the bite occurs on their property, and if they have the added protection of beware of dog signs up, they're not liable. Now again, this moves beyond whether you're hurt or not. It doesn't, we're just not even going to go down that line. It is about whether you are liable or not. And again, this is a good question for an attorney. But many years ago, and I wrote about this in my book, The Hammer, Why Dogs Attack Us and How to Prevent It. I was walking down a road very similar to this one. I'm just going to pan around and you can probably see over my shoulder here. Actually, I was jogging down a rural Alabama road, visiting a friend many years ago. And while I was jogging down this gravel road, I saw a trail off to the side. And there's lots of trails around here in the mountains. And I decided, that's me. I just want to go for a little run on the trail and explore it. And while I was doing so, after about several hundred yards off the gravel road onto this unmarked trail, wasn't marked in any way whatsoever, I suddenly came under attack by 4 dogs. 2 of them being pit bulls, 2 being German shepherds. And I've been bluff charged by bears, I've been bluff charged by lions, by elephants, and I'm here to tell you, I can tell the difference between a bluff charge and a full-on attack. And I was under a full-on attack. These 4 dogs sprang on me in the blink of an eye. And fortunately, I was able to gain access. I looked down real quick on the trail, and there was a very large, very heavy, very sturdy tree branch. And I used that. And I wrote in my chapter, Swing Hard or Die, because I'm telling you, that's what you have to do in a situation like that. I could have died. I was able to fight off my 4 assailants, 2 very large pit bulls, 2 very large German shepherds. I was able to fight my way out of that situation. And when I finished that, it was the first time that I noticed that I was standing on the edge of a clearing, and there were 4 shacks. And I remember it to this day, even though it was many years ago. And there's a woman standing behind one of the screen doors on the shack holding a baby, and she just had this look in her eyes like a ghost. No emotions whatsoever, just far away, distant look. And then I looked over to the next shack, and there was another man looking out. And then I looked over further and further, and all these people that lived in these shacks, they had just watched this battle occur. And no one came to my aid. No one tried to call the dogs off. I don't know how long that fight lasted, but I still carry that thought today. I still can't help it that even though I'm out in the wild and I feel very capable, I get these little chills. When I suddenly hear a dog bark, I hear something approaching from behind me. Yeah, it's affected me for my entire life. And I'm here to tell you, I wrote about it in my book, again, The Hammer, Why Dogs Attack Us and How to Prevent It. And I was criticized by some readers. They went on to say how stupid I was. I had every right to be attacked. I was on someone else's property. But first of all, let me just state this out there. No one has really the right to be attacked unless you have criminal intent, unless you're there to harm the people inside that home and on that property. But if you're not, if you're just an innocent jogger like me, taking advantage of a trail that nature provides, then you're not. And let me tell you a little bit about the law. Okay, so, not me doing the law, I wrote it down. Here's the deal. This is in Alabama, but you know what? I researched this in 47 more states. A person is guilty of criminal trespass in the 3rd degree when he knowingly, that's the word I need you to pay attention to, when he knowingly enters or remains unlawfully in or upon premises. I was a police canine officer for 3 years. I know that to be absolutely true. Okay, so here's the deal. I did not know I was on that property. And for my viewer, are you sure that the individual knew they were on your property? Because that has to be established. You can't just squat out here in the middle of the forest like you see on some of these reality TV shows and expect that to be your property and expect someone to not know that that's not your property. I just went for a jog. It was a trail. There was nothing posted. There were no mailboxes, street lights, power lines, anything that a reasonable person might be able to discern. I might be on someone else's property. You need to make sure. A lot of property lines are invisible, and when you get out into the country like I am today, up in these mountains, they don't even allow fences. They're not allowed. They don't want you to mark up the blocking out my mind. It reminds me of an old song out there. You know, block up the scenery, everything else. So they don't want that around here. And again, property lines are hard to distinguish. So let's go on with just from there. No trespassing signs. So if you want someone to not be on your property, you need to make them aware of the fact that you have property, you're on it, and you're not supposed to be on it. And therefore, no trespassing signs must be reasonably likely to come to the attention of intruders and should provide a reference to the legal code Title 13A. Again, in my particular case, there were no trespassing signs making reference to Title Code 13A. There was nothing. No beware of dog signs either. And let me kind of tell you a little bit about beware of dog signs because everyone likes to put them up. Can you make it to the gate in 3 seconds? Because my Dobermans can. Yeah, those are all cute. But let me tell you about the general attitude of the courts. Courts are likely to consider that if you need a sign telling people to beware of your dog, then you already know that your dog is dangerous. And if you want a reference on what a dangerous dog is, you might want to hop into my book on page 114 because I go down list by list as denoted by the legal code in this country. A dangerous dog has many descriptions. And you might want to just check with an attorney, your insurance company, and make sure that you're covered in case your dog bites someone. Because they can bring against you civil and criminal prosecution if the owner knew the dog had a tendency to bite. So if you had you know that your dog has a tendency to bite, even if you have these signs up. Even if you have them up, you could be held civilly and criminally prosecuted. Also, if the dog bite statute makes it liable, most states of this United States of America, there is no one bite law. That thing was around about 100 years ago. It's not around any longer. If you're the dog's owner, you're liable. You're liable for the actions of your dog. That's the way they're going to look at it. Strict statute liability in each state. So again, I'd encourage you to check wherever you're living. Find out. And then lastly, if the owner was unreasonably careless with this dangerous dog. Okay, so back to my personal case, and for those who wanted to write a critique, you know the type of people I'm talking about, the ones that sit around and critique everyone else for trying to do something good and trying to make a difference in the world while they don't do anything themselves. You know who I'm talking about. Here's the deal. I had every legal right to be where I was. As it turns out, those people were squatters. They didn't own that land. In fact, the landowner didn't even know they were there. And I did not have the right to come under an attack. I'm lucky I survived it. And I pray to you someday, if you come under attack, that you'll survive it as well. But my biggest advice for any of you out there right now is know this. If you have property and you do not want anyone on your property, then make sure that there's means for people to know that you own that property and that you are not supposed to be there. Make that very clear. Number two, if you think that you have a dog that has a tendency to bite someone, then you need to make sure that you control your dog. Make sure your dog should be behind a fence, whether it's on leash, inside your home, whatever it takes to be a good zookeeper to protect others from being harmed by your dog. who unknowingly enter your property. Yeah, trust me, I've been to a lot of training, Lethal Force Institute, a lot of other training commands and training scenarios and training institutions that all talk about the judicial use of lethal force and using a dog. Tell you what, first of all, I wouldn't want anyone to ever be harmed by my dog, ever. I don't even care. I don't care who they are. I really don't. And number two, because it's a horrible thing. It's just a horrible thing when you come under a dog attack. And then number two on that, you better make sure that they were there to cause you harm. You better make sure. Because I tell you what, jury or your peers will make sure. Okay, guys, so that's it for today. It's a beautiful day up here in the mountains up here. I want to enjoy my beautiful day. I'm going to go for a nice hike today. And if I do see a trail, I'm going to take it. I'm going to go down that trail. But I'm a little bit more armed than what I was back in those days. I got my bear mace on me. I'm a little bit more equipped to deal with the situation if I come across it. But guys, as a dog owner, as a loving these animals the way that I know you love them because you watch these videos, be responsible. I know you take pride in your land. I know you love your property. But make sure you protect those who can just make a mistake. They may not even know it's your property. Protect them. Keep them safe. All right, that's enough for me. And other than that, go talk to your attorney about it, okay? I just want everyone to be safe. I love it so much out in the wild and in the country. I know a lot of you do as well. And I want you to go out there and enjoy it. And I don't want you to ever come under the attack that I came under. I didn't deserve that. You don't either. Enjoy the rest of your day.